We had controlled aggression last night after the Met game. I took Sean Casey to Moonachie, New Jersey, a place called Bazzarelli's. Real nice.
Crushing.
Parm.
How many calories?
Real nice. Slice of pie. How we doing?
Couple meatballs, galamad. We did the whole Italian skit.
Hey, but D-Row, Christian Walker, Joe Espada gave him the day off Monday. Tuesday, he responds with 3 hits, and then last night, 2 more, including a bomb.
Lucas, you have to stay with me here. There's three sounds.
Lucas has worked on the Today Show for 4 decades.
There's 3 coming. Okay, who is our favorite? We love them all. Honestly, we do. We love them all. Who was our favorite
Christian
in-studio guest
Walker,
last year?
period, the end.
And when he got going, I wanted to bring back his sound because I like to teach.
Yeah,
right?
love it.
At home?
Yeah.
So let's start it up. Let's get into it. Let's get a nice front end. Because Case, 3 years, 60, right to play first base. Robert loved the sign. I loved the sign. I would have been on him from jump.
Elite first baseman, too.
2022, 36 pumps, 23, 33 bombs. Last year, 26 bombs. He's 6 for 15 with 2 homers. He came into the studio. He talked about knowing thyself and how he adds value. Listen to this.
The nature of what I provide to a lineup, I need to be in a position to hit a ball in the air as hard as I can. And sometimes I need to lean one way or another just for some conviction.
Pause this right here. So we always talk about you shouldn't wonder why you're on the roster and what your value is to the roster. And Christian Walker knows, especially with the D-backs, and the same thing with the Astros. My job is to drive in runs.
Yeah, hit the ball in the ballpark and drive in runs.
And what he was, it just seemed like he was late. He was getting adjusted to a new surrounding, new teammates, and he was just late to pull a trigger. A lot of balls on the ground early, okay? I just wanted to see if he was standing a little bit different from his time in Arizona to Houston. He definitely looks a little bit more open. So maybe it would be something that, I mean, he's on fire now, 6 for 15, but is he? We'll get into it because the home run last night, he still wasn't totally like behind it and crushing it. So maybe it's a situation where
yeah, I like that he stayed. It was the breaking ball stayed in on
yes.
there. When I saw that, I was like, oh, that's good. He stayed in on that breaking ball.
All right, so I wasn't a tinkerer. I stood in the same spot from day one of short season A-ball until the day I retired. But I feel like the great players that I've talked to were never afraid to make changes with their hands, with their stride.
I remember I had 2 really monster years. One I was straight up and down.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden, 2099, I'm straight up and down. 2004, it didn't feel right. I got more crouched into my backside, was leaning on, and I had the same number. So at times I did tinker a little bit.
Yeah.
But I did find that if you tinker too much, you can get in trouble.
All right, but I wanted to bring up some sound because Christian Walker's a tinkerer.
I've learned I'm my best at the plate. The less I think. I'm a tinkerer at heart. I'm always looking for a hand position, a feel, a move to unlock me again. And the more I can go up there and trust myself and just be in the moment, I'm a much better hitter.
All right, so pause that. And when you watch him last year and go through some of his home runs, although he's a tinkerer, what he's saying is 100% true. Yeah. Empty head, full bat.
I agree with that.
Right? Full head, empty bat.
Yeah,
Can't be thinking too much up there, and it just seems like he's been searching in the early parts.
I know a lot of times, really quick, dude.
No.
A lot of times when my mind would go to that place, get in the maze, I was like, okay, how do I simplify? Back to the process. And I think a lot of times as hitters, when we get to tinker mode, we lose the fact that we're trying to hit a baseball. That's not easy. So I know at times when I would get myself going again, I would think ball, hammer the ball, attack the ball, drive the ball.
Never come off the heater.
Never come off that heater and stay on the ball.
All right, let's get into it. Some of his at-bats recently and take a look. Because he showed something here off Chris Bassett. He gets a couple shooters, a couple ground balls with eyes, but that's not what we're paying him to do. But I thought what was interesting 2 nights ago, he gets into a 3-0 count here. How many times you pull a trigger 3-0 in the show?
1 time.
1 time?
I wish I would have done it more.
All right, so pause this real quick. You have to be ultra confident to pull the trigger 3-0.
Yes.
You just do, because you're probably getting the same pitch, which I would argue.
Did you pull the trigger?
As I got later in my career, I pulled the trigger a lot.
Did you? I should have.
Because I would argue, oh, you're going to get it again. No, you're not.
You're not.
They're the best players in the world. As soon as I see cookie heater 3-0, I'm getting breaker off it.
That's true.
But when you're scuffling, you got two knocks already. You're sitting there 3-0. I thought this was a dangerous play right here. Watch this. This is his best swing he's taken all year for me. Boom, that's backed up, double in the gap. You have to have confidence and feel ready to go to pull the trigger, because if he pops that up, he's going into a slump again, okay? And now I'm going to take you through the homer. He just walks the dog on that. Staying back, staying stacked behind it. I didn't even think he kind of clipped this perfect. I want to get into his sound, talking about what he thinks at the plate. Like that.
Yeah, so for me, I look a lot at angles. I look at the relationship back foot, back knee, back hip, head, that forward line there.
So you want like almost like a piece of rebar coming right through and kind of
even with this angle a little bit. You know, for me,
a little forward tilt.
Yeah, for me, that backside angle allows me to get against my back leg and not get stacked over my back leg. And the more I can stay aggressive and with a little bit of a downhill move, that angle just keeps me in a better spot leverage-wise. Exactly.
I love that aggressive with the downhill move. I love that.
So here he is in 2024. Let's run through it real quick. I'm telling you, 2025, he might be standing a little bit more open. This swing is almost exactly the same. That is gorgeous. And behind it, find me a crazy difference in the two. I just think he's getting adjusted a little late to the party, coming off the heater a little bit, and just catching it. Watch point of contact run these. I mean, he's one click away. Pause that and slow click it.
I mean, he looks the same.
Looks exactly the same.
And look at that. Look at that.
Boom. Right. Get at the point of
aggression.
contact real quick. Look at his extension right here. It's one more frame. One. It's the difference between homer, grounder to short.
Yeah. And that's a timing thing. I think you're about to see him go off with what he did last night.
And the defense never wavers.
Best in the game. That's
Best
why he got the
defender
money.
at that position in the game. Robert, he's going to end up with his 30 bombs for you.
No doubt. And as we were saying earlier, Yordan Alvarez hasn't really gotten going, but you get the sense that he's close.
Yeah.
So really fantastic stuff, guys. The Astros begin a series in Kansas City this weekend to take on the Royals. Royals have a doubleheader today against the Rockies because they were rained out yesterday.
Dodger Stadium filling up before Game 1 of the 1988 World Series. Hi, everybody. Bob Costas along with Marv Albert.
Thoughts and images that went through your mind as you rounded the bases? Well, I just kept telling myself these are the type of circumstances you enjoy most, and you perform even better under these conditions.
Oh, left center. Look out. Do you believe it? It's gone. To the wall. And what happens here? He contends that a fan reaches up and touches it. But Richie Garcia says no. The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series. Unleash all the superlatives. They all seem to apply.
Man, what a run. What a run. And Baseball Digest is honored to present its 5th annual Lifetime Achievement Award to our good friend Bob Costas, who, in a decorated national broadcasting career that has spanned 5 decades, has been recognized as one of the game's premier voices across all sports. The Lifetime Achievement Award, which debuted in 2021, has had Willie Mays, Vin Scully, Joe Torre, Dusty Baker as its previous 4 recipients. It's the game's only such honor presented annually on a national basis. It recognizes a living individual whose career has been spent in or around Major League Baseball and who has made significant contributions to the game. And we are thrilled to have our good friend Bob Costas here in studio.
If not thrilled, at least pleased.
No,
I'm thrilled.
Hey,
I'm thrilled.
that's quite a.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned it's got a.
It's like a hologram.
It's a hologram in there. And Tiro said it's got a USB port.
Wow.
You're going to walk past that every day and get a nice little gander of yourself.
You don't want to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and think it's like your ghost sitting on your shoulder.
It's the ghost of Bob Costas' past and
but
future and present.
This is, first of all, it's a wonderful honor, especially considering the people who have received it previously and the panel of baseball people that decided upon it. But when you start receiving Lifetime Achievement Awards, you know that you're walking off into the sunset. So there will be a party afterwards to which you're invited, open bar, Ovaltine spiked with Geritol, and a curfew of 8 o'clock.
Well, and to that end, and as you said, it is an achievement that marks a long history in the business. How do you feel about it?
Well, I feel great about my overall association with baseball. I don't want to dwell on this, but I mentioned it to you, D-Row. You know, I'd lost something off my fastball toward the end. It happens to all of us to one degree or another, and I wanted to close out the play-by-play part with something that was at least aligned with the general standard that I hit, and I wasn't able to do that exactly. One advantage that sports stars have is they have statistics. They have a lifetime batting average that you can refer to, even if the last season wasn't quite as good as the lifetime batting average. So this, in effect, I guess, is a recognition by people who paid attention over time of what my lifetime batting average is. I'm sorry I couldn't come closer to it toward the end.
GOAT, Bob. I've had a lot of pinch me moments in my life. I've only called 3 baseball games. And walking into the booth and seeing him prepare his notes, and I was going to be sitting next to him, I'm like, can I get a picture? Sent it to my mom. I said, Mom, check this out.
You know, Plesac did the same thing.
Those are real moments. I mean, you soundtrack to a lot of the sports moments of my childhood and recent are listening to you. So to sit back and for you to turn to me and say, hey, give me 2 or 3 innings to get this thing cooking.
Right.
And then you start jumping in. Come on.
What's the one call that you immediately think of?
You know, I always felt that, especially for a national broadcast, if it was significant enough, that a good broadcast didn't just have the excitement of the given moment, but it was aligned with what kind of the first draft of the history of it would be. So I like the last out of the 1999 World Series when the Yankees swept the Braves, because the designation of Team of the Decade was still up in the air. If the Braves had won that series, they would have been the team of the decade. So it was a harmless fly ball. There wasn't anything in doubt. The Yankees had a big lead, Rivera closing it out, fly ball to left. And as it descended, I said, the New York Yankees, world champions, team of the decade, most successful franchise of the century. I know the call because I've heard it replayed so many times. Now, it's not super exciting, but I think it was the right caption to put there before a national audience, and it holds up because they are the most successful franchise in the history of the game.
As you're driving to the yard that day, are you thinking of those moments and what you're going to say, or is it organically happening?
You know, D-Row, there are some people, and I don't criticize them for this, they script calls.
Yeah.
I have a storyline in mind. For example, in 1998 on the NBA, you knew it was possible, maybe even likely, this was the end of the Bulls dynasty and the end of Michael Jordan's career. He did come back for a cameo with the Wizards, but essentially that was the end. On the other hand, the Jazz could have won that game and forced a Game 7. So you can't be locked in. And I didn't know it would end in a way that you couldn't possibly script, with Jordan doing incredibly theatrical things. So I had the notion in my head, but the exact words just were what came to me at the time. Before we run out of time, I want to mention something about Baseball Digest. It's continually published since like 1947. It now is in a larger, glossier form, but they retain all the classic things: the rules quiz, the trivia quiz, the look back at baseball history, as well as a bunch of stuff on the modern game and what's happening now. Rick Cerone, who used to be the PR guy for the Yankees and for the Pirates, is now the editor.
I just like that it's a magazine.
Yeah.
That you can touch it, that you can thumb through the pages. And also there's a special offer for MLB Network. What is it, Savines? 55% off right now. There you go.
And you can get it at Barnes & Noble if you don't have a subscription.
Oh, I like that too. Hey, real quick, just some things that are going on around the game that have caught your eye. We were talking to the break. Aaron Judge is batting over 400.
Cubbies.
But the Cubbies. You also mentioned the San Diego Padres as well.
Well, the Padres have the best combined staff ERA to this point in the young season in all of baseball. And if anyone thought the Dodgers were going to cakewalk, you know, at the beginning of the year, will they win 120 games? You know, that's off the table now. Will they win 100 games? In all likelihood.
Yes.
Will they likely win the division? Yeah. But they know better than anybody that it's their own division that's given them a tough time. The Padres in 22 knock them out in the division series. The Diamondbacks sweep them the next year. And people forget that last year, the Padres are up 2-1 on them in a best-of-5. There's no dynasty talk if they don't win those next two games. So, you know, the Padres are an impressive team. The Cubs, you know, they've got a lot going for them. Kyle Tucker's an early MVP candidate. Michael Busch, no place for him on the Dodgers, but he's been tearing it up.
Steel injury will hurt them. They got to address that at some point. PCA's a stud, though, out in center field. No.
Blake Snell suffered a setback in his return from
Pete Crow Armstrong, one of the fastest guys in the game, great defensive center fielder, and we haven't even talked about the Mets. And Soto isn't even hot yet.
Yeah, it's
one of the highlights of my professional career was getting a chance to sit next to you for
Thank you.
2 times I got to it.
Thank you, D-Row.
One of my highlights is walking into the makeup room and seeing
And
Bob,
seeing him.
and he says, "Hey, Roflo." I'm like, it doesn't get any better than that. Bob, congratulations on a fantastic career. Congratulations on the award